come to the conclusion that half of the shit that's written in your book is bullshit. And anybody with common sense could, I mean, come on, dude, like, come on, let's see, but anyone, this is, okay, hold on, this is for, rejoicing, okay? Do not rejoice when your enemy falls, and let not your heart be glad when he stumbles. If your enemy is hungry, give him bread to eat, and if he is thirsty, give him water to drink. He who rejoices at calamity shall not be unpunished. Proverbs 24:17. But then right after that, the Lord will rejoice over you to destroy you. The Lord will rejoice over you to destroy you. Deuteronomy 28:63. You know, I don't
I like turtles.
Turtles look so innocent that they have these religious people believing that a God has to exist. Because who else would make such a lovable creature like a turtle? I think it's safe to assume that if you are one of those religious people, that you probably spend the majority of your religious time in Sunday school or church on Sundays, and the only thing you know about your religion is what your pastor tells you. So I would advise all of you to read your Bibles, learn them, and study them well, and maybe you'll join the Calvary. Poetic Death, peace, peace, to rise, signing off. Peace.
Last week, Chris Matthews made a statement about Obama's State of the Union address that, well, let's just say some people consider it to be politically incorrect. To start off, here's the entire statement in context.
I was trying to think about who he was tonight, and it's interesting. He is post-racial, by all appearances. You know, I forgot he was black tonight for an hour. You know, he's gone a long way to become a leader of this country and passed so much history in just a year or two. I mean, it's something we don't even think about. I was watching, I said, wait a minute, he's an African-American guy in front of a bunch of other white people, and there he is, President of the United States, and we've completely forgotten that tonight. Completely forgotten it. I think it was in the scope of his discussion. It was so broad-ranging, so in tune with so many problems and aspects of American life that you don't think in terms of the old tribalism, the old ethnicity. It was astounding in that regard, a very subtle fact. It's so hard to even talk about. Maybe I shouldn't talk about it, but I am.
Well, those statements have generated quite a bit of controversy. Pundits, bloggers, seems like everyone is blasting Matthews for his racist comments. Full disclosure time. I can't stand Chris Matthews. I don't care one thing about what he says. I don't watch his show. I have absolutely no idea if he's racist or not. I can't read minds. But these attacks on his character are not only unfounded, they're part of what I feel is the big racial problem we have today. Listen to this comment reported by the Associated Press. It's important for us to remember that everyone has a race. When you say we're going to transcend race, are white people called on to transcend their whiteness? When black people transcend it, what do we become? Do we become white? Why would we have to stop being our race in order to solve a problem? Blair L. M. Kelly, Associate Professor of History at North Carolina State University. When you transcend race, you don't become white. You don't become anything except for human. What's wrong with that? It seems to me that it's Professor Kelly and those like her who are still holding on to race as a defining characteristic of who someone is. This is groupthink, and it's the source of all racism and bigotry. And no, you don't stop being your race any more than you stop having the same height or the same eye color. But it becomes every bit as unimportant as height or eye color. It seems that people like Professor Kelly consider that to be a bad thing. Listen to the comments of Dr. Imani Perry, professor at Princeton Center for African American Studies, also reported by AP. The ideal is to be able to see and acknowledge everything that person is, including the history that he or she comes from, as well as his or her competencies and qualities, and respect all of those things. But what does history have to do with anything? Are any of us responsible for the actions of our ancestors? If someone's grandfather was a mass murderer, should that be a blight on that person's character? Or if someone's grandfather was a great scientist and philanthropist who developed technology that saved millions of lives, is that a credit to that person, something they should be proud of? How does that have anything to do with the person's character and how we should judge it? It seems to me they've either forgotten or ignored the words of Martin Luther King Jr.
I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
Did you hear that? Not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character alone, devoid of any racial identification or groupthink. And for that matter, not based on any kind of group identity, be it religion, gender, national origin, socioeconomic background, or anything. People should be judged 100% on their actions as individuals, not as Christians, Muslims, or atheists, not as blacks, whites, or Asians, not as Americans, or Europeans, or Australians. Just who you are. Until we do this, until we stop using words like black community or categorizing people as African Americans, Latino Americans, or even just Americans, until we stop considering them as anything other than individuals, we will never rid our society of any form of bigotry. What Chris Matthews pointed out was a good thing, but then Professor Kelly, Dr. Perry, and all of the others who've been complaining about it have done their part to make sure that the problem of bigotry will continue.